Princess Luna stood in the grand crystal hall of her father's palace, looking down at the holographic display that showed a small blue and green planet far away from her home world. The planet was called Earth, and it was full of creatures called humans. Luna had heard many stories about these humans, and none of them were good stories. "They are wild animals," Luna said to her younger brother Prince Alex, who stood beside her. "They fight each other all the time. They destroy their own planet. They know nothing about real science or magic. Why does the Galactic Council want us to make friends with such stupid creatures?" Alex smiled at his sister's angry words. He knew Luna thought she was better than everyone else, especially beings from other planets. Luna believed that elves were the smartest and most beautiful creatures in the whole galaxy. She had never met a human before, but she was sure they were ugly and dumb. "Maybe you should go see them for yourself before you decide they are bad," Alex said quietly. "Father says the council wants to send someone to study the humans and make a report about them." Luna laughed in a mean way. "I would rather eat dirt than waste my time looking at those dirty creatures. The council should just leave them alone on their little planet. We have nothing to learn from humans." Alex had been waiting for his sister to say something like this. He had a plan to teach Luna that she should not judge others without knowing them first. "If you are so sure that humans are worthless," he said, "then you should have no problem making a small bet with me." Luna turned to look at her brother with interest. She loved making bets because she almost always won them. "What kind of bet?" she asked. "I bet that if you go to Earth and spend 1 month watching the humans, you will find at least one human who is brave, kind, and smart," Alex said. "If you can prove that every single human is bad, then I will support you when you tell Father that we should not make friends with Earth. But if you find even one good human, then you have to do something for me." Luna felt very confident. 1 month on Earth would be easy. She would look at the humans, see how terrible they were, and then come home to tell everyone that she was right about them. "What do I have to do if I lose?" she asked. Alex grinned. "You have to marry whatever human the council thinks would be best for making peace between our worlds." Luna's eyes went wide. Marriage to a human was the most horrible thing she could think of, but she was so sure that humans were awful that she did not worry about losing the bet. "Fine," she said. "I agree to your stupid bet. When I come back from Earth, you will see that I was right about humans all along." The next day, Luna met with the Galactic Council to get her mission orders. The council was made up of wise leaders from many different planets and species. They told Luna that she would go to Earth disguised as a human woman. She would live in a small town called Riverside in a country called America. Her job was to watch the humans and learn about their ways. "You must not let them know you are an elf," said Council Leader Zara. "Use our technology to look like a human. Live among them, work with them, see how they treat each other and how they solve their problems." Luna nodded, but inside she was already planning how she would prove that humans were no good. She would write down every bad thing she saw humans do. She would collect evidence of their violence and stupidity. When she returned home, no one would be able to argue with her report. The council gave Luna a special device that would change her appearance. When she activated it, her pointed elf ears became round like human ears. Her tall, thin body became shorter and less graceful. Her silver hair turned brown, and her glowing purple eyes became ordinary blue eyes. She looked in the mirror and made a face of disgust. Humans were truly ugly creatures. Luna also received a small ship that would take her to Earth. The ship was disguised to look like a simple human vehicle called a car. Inside the ship were supplies she would need and clothes that looked like human clothing. Everything smelled strange and rough compared to the fine things she was used to on her home planet. Before she left, Luna said goodbye to her parents, King Marcus and Queen Diana. They both looked worried about sending their daughter to such a faraway and unknown place. "Be careful, my dear," Queen Diana said. "We know very little about humans. They might be dangerous." "Do not worry, Mother," Luna replied. "I will be back in 1 month with proof that humans are not worth our time. This will be the easiest bet I have ever won." King Marcus hugged his daughter. "Remember that you represent our people. Be respectful even if you do not like what you see." Luna promised to behave properly, but she had no intention of being respectful to creatures she considered lower than animals. She climbed into her ship and set the controls for Earth. As her home planet grew smaller behind her, Luna smiled. In 30 days, she would return home as a hero who had saved her people from making a terrible mistake. The journey to Earth took several days. During the trip, Luna studied information about human culture and language. She learned that humans lived much shorter lives than elves. They had no natural magic powers. They could not travel between stars without machines. They seemed to spend most of their time fighting wars or trying to find enough food to eat. Everything Luna read made her more sure that humans were primitive and worthless. She could not wait to see their ugly cities and violent behavior with her own eyes. Then she would have all the evidence she needed to win her bet with Alex. When Luna's ship finally reached Earth, she was surprised by how blue and beautiful the planet looked from space. She had expected it to be dark and dirty, but as her ship entered the atmosphere and flew toward the town called Riverside, Luna reminded herself that pretty colors could not hide the savage nature of the creatures living below. Luna landed her ship in a forest outside Riverside and activated the camouflage system. Then she walked toward the town, ready to begin her mission. She had 1 month to prove that every human was bad. How hard could it be? Luna walked into the town of Riverside just as the sun was starting to set. She had expected to see broken buildings, garbage in the streets, and humans fighting each other. Instead, she found clean sidewalks, pretty houses with flowers in front, and people walking around peacefully. This confused her, but she told herself that the real ugliness of human nature would show itself soon enough. She had created a story to explain why she was in town. She would tell people that her name was Amy Johnson and that she had lost her job in another city. She needed a place to stay and work while she figured out what to do next. This story would let her live among the humans without them asking too many questions. Luna saw a small restaurant with warm light coming from the windows. A sign outside said Katie's Diner, best food in town. Her stomach was making hungry noises, so she decided to go inside. This would be a good place to start watching how humans behaved. When Luna opened the door, a small bell rang above her head. The restaurant was full of people eating dinner and talking quietly. A woman with red hair and a friendly smile came over to her right away. "Hi there, honey," the woman said. "I'm Katie, and I own this place. You look like you might be new in town. Are you looking for a table?" Luna was surprised by how kind the woman sounded. She had expected humans to be rude and mean to strangers. "Yes," Luna said carefully. "I am new here. My name is Amy Johnson." Katie showed Luna to a small table by the window and brought her a menu. "Where are you coming from, Amy?" Katie asked while Luna looked at the list of food. "From far away," Luna answered, which was certainly true. "I lost my job and heard that Riverside might have work for someone like me." Katie's face became full of concern. "Oh, you poor thing, that's always hard. Well, you came to the right place. Riverside is a good town with good people. What kind of work are you looking for?" Luna had not expected this question. On her home planet, strangers were not usually offered help so quickly. "I can do many different kinds of work," she said. "That's perfect," Katie said with a big smile. "My friend Jake Morrison is always looking for people to help with different projects around town. He runs the community center and helps organize work for folks who need it. I'll give you his phone number before you leave." Luna ordered something called a hamburger and French fries. When Katie brought the food, it smelled much better than Luna had expected. She had thought human food would be terrible, but this meal was actually quite good. While Luna ate, she watched the other people in the restaurant. She saw families eating together and laughing. She saw an old man sitting alone until 2 younger men invited him to join their table. She saw Katie refusing to let a woman with 3 children pay for her meal, saying, "Pay me back when things get better, honey." All of this kindness confused Luna. Where was the violence and selfishness she had been told about? Maybe these humans were just pretending to be nice, she thought. Their real nature would come out later. After dinner, Katie gave Luna a piece of paper with Jake Morrison's phone number written on it. "He's a real good man," Katie said. Lost his wife in a car accident 2 years ago, but he never let it make him bitter. He spends all his time helping other people now. You call him tomorrow morning." Luna thanked Katie and left the restaurant. She walked around the town for a while, looking for a place to spend the night. She found a small hotel called the Riverside Inn. The man at the front desk was very polite and gave her a clean room for a fair price. That night, Luna lay in bed thinking about what she had seen. The humans she met seemed much nicer than she had expected. But she reminded herself that one evening was not enough time to judge an entire species. Tomorrow she would call this Jake Morrison person and start learning about the real human nature. The next morning, Luna used the phone in her room to call Jake. A man with a deep, calm voice answered. "Morrison Community Center, this is Jake speaking." "Hello," Luna said. "My name is Amy Johnson. Katie from the diner gave me your number. She said you might have work for someone new in town." "Katie mentioned you might call," Jake said, and Luna could hear the smile in his voice. "Why don't you come down to the community center this morning? We can talk about what kinds of things you're good at and see if we can find something that fits." The community center was a large building in the middle of town. When Luna walked inside, she saw children playing games, older people reading books, and several adults working on what looked like building projects. Everything was clean and organized, and everyone seemed happy to be there. Jake Morrison was easy to spot. He was a tall man with brown hair and kind eyes. He was helping a group of teenagers learn how to use woodworking tools. When he saw Luna, he finished showing them how to use a saw safely, then came over to meet her. "You must be Amy," he said, holding out his hand to shake hers. "Welcome to Riverside. Katie told me you're looking for work." Luna shook his hand and was surprised by how gentle his grip was. She had expected human men to be rough and aggressive. "Yes," she said. "I can do many different things. I learn quickly." Jake smiled. "That's exactly what we need around here. Let me show you some of the projects we're working on and you can tell me what interests you." Jake took Luna around the building, showing her different activities. In one room, people were teaching children how to read. In another room, adults were learning computer skills. In the basement, volunteers were packing food boxes for families who did not have enough money to buy groceries. "We try to help everyone. In town," Jake explained. "Some people need job training. Some need help with their kids. Some just need a hot meal and someone to talk to. Whatever people need, we try to find a way to provide it." Luna watched Jake as he talked to different volunteers and visitors. Everyone seemed to respect and trust him. She noticed that he remembered everyone's names and asked about their families and problems. This did not seem like the behavior of a stupid or selfish creature. "What kind of work did you do before?" Jake asked as they sat down in his office. Luna had prepared an answer for this question. "I worked with computers and technology. I also helped manage projects and solve problems." Jake's eyes lit up. "That's perfect. We're trying to upgrade our computer systems and set up better internet access for the whole community. It's been a challenge because we don't have much money, but we're trying to find creative solutions. Would you be interested in helping with that?" Luna agreed to help with the computer project. She thought this would be a good way to observe Jake and the other humans while also doing something useful. Jake showed her to a room full of old computers and equipment that looked very primitive compared to the technology on her home planet. "I know it's not much to work with," Jake said, looking a little embarrassed. "We get most of our equipment from donations, so it's usually pretty old, but we make it work somehow." Luna looked at the outdated machines and felt something strange. Instead of feeling superior and mocking, she felt sorry for these people who were trying so hard with so little. She pushed that feeling away and reminded herself that she was here to prove humans were inferior. But as the day went on, Luna found herself genuinely enjoying the work and the company of the humans around her. Maybe proving their worthlessness would be harder than she had thought. 2 weeks had passed since Luna started working at the community center, and she was becoming very frustrated. Every day she looked for evidence that humans were violent, selfish, or stupid. Every day she found the opposite. She watched Jake work, from early morning until late at night, helping anyone who needed it. She saw him give his own lunch to a homeless man who came to the center hungry. She watched him spend his weekend fixing the roof of an old woman's house for free. She saw him comfort crying children and teach angry teenagers how to control their temper instead of fighting. Luna had started keeping a notebook where she wrote down bad things about humans. After 2 weeks, the notebook was almost empty. She had only written down 3 small complaints. Humans talked too loudly sometimes, they ate too much sugar, and they worried too much about things they could not control. These were not the terrible flaws she had expected to find. Even worse, Luna was starting to like the humans she worked with. There was Betty, an older woman who brought homemade cookies for everyone every Friday. There was Carlos, a young man who was learning English and always thanked Luna with a big smile when she helped him with the computers. There was little Megan, a 7-year-old girl who drew pictures for Luna and called her Miss Amy. Luna tried to remind herself that she was an elf princess, superior to these simple creatures. But it was getting harder to feel superior when the humans treated her with such kindness and respect. They valued her opinions, asked for her help, and seemed genuinely happy when she succeeded at something. On a cold Tuesday morning, Luna arrived at the community center to find everyone looking worried and scared. Jake was standing in the main room talking to a group of adults in serious voices. "What is happening?" Luna asked Betty, who was wringing her hands nervously. "There's been an earthquake about 50 miles from here," Betty explained. "It damaged the power plant that gives electricity to our whole region. They're saying we might lose power for weeks, maybe months. With winter coming, that could be really dangerous, especially for the older folks and families with small children." Luna felt a strange tightness in her chest when she thought about people like Betty and little Megan being cold and afraid. She told herself that this was not her problem. She was here to observe, not to help, but the feeling would not go away. Jake called everyone together for a meeting. His face was calm, but Luna could see worry in his eyes. "I know you're all scared," he said. "I'm scared too. But we've gotten through hard times before and we'll get through this one. We need to work together and help each other." Jake explained that the power company said it would take at least 6 weeks to fix the main power plant. The town had a small backup generator, but it could only power the most important buildings like the hospital and fire station. Homes and businesses would have no electricity, which meant no heat, no lights, and no way to cook food. "We're going to turn the community center into a shelter," Jake said. "Anyone who needs a warm place to stay can come here. We'll set up sleeping areas and share what food we have. But first, we need to figure out how to get more power." An older man named Frank raised his hand. "What about that old generator in the basement of the hardware store? It's been broken for years, but maybe we could fix it." Jake nodded. "That's a good idea, Frank. But even if we get it working, we'll need more power than one generator can provide. We need to think bigger." Luna listened to the humans discuss their options. They talked about rationing food, sharing blankets, and organizing teams to check on elderly neighbors. Everyone was scared, but no one was panicking or fighting. Instead, they were working together and looking out for each other. After the meeting, Luna found Jake sitting alone in his office, staring at papers covered with numbers and plans. He looked tired and worried. "Can I help with anything?" Luna asked. Jake looked up at her with a grateful smile. "Thanks, Amy. I'm trying to figure out how much food and fuel we'll need to get through the next few weeks. The math isn't looking good." Luna sat down across from Jake and looked at his calculations. With her advanced education, she could see the problems immediately. The town did not have enough resources to keep everyone warm and fed for 6 weeks. "What if we could get more power?" Luna asked. "Not just the old generator, but something bigger." Jake shook his head. "The nearest working power plant is 200 miles away. There's no way to run power lines that far in just a few days." Luna thought about the technology in her hidden spaceship. She had equipment that could easily solve the town's power problems, but using it would mean revealing who she really was. She would fail her mission and lose her bet with Alex. For the first time since arriving on Earth, Luna found herself caring more about helping the humans than about winning her bet. The thought shocked her. These were supposed to be inferior creatures, not people she cared about. Over the next 3 days, the situation got worse. The backup generator at the community center broke down. The temperature outside dropped below freezing. Families started arriving at the center with their children and whatever belongings they could carry. Luna watched Jake work without sleeping, organizing shelter space, distributing food, and comforting frightened people. She saw him give his own coat to an old man who was shivering. She watched him hold a crying baby so the mother could rest for a few minutes. On the third night, Luna found Jake outside the community center, standing in the snow and looking up at the stars. He looked exhausted and defeated. "You should be inside where it's warm," Luna said, walking up beside him. Jake smiled sadly. "I needed some air. It's getting pretty crowded in there." "How many people are staying in the center now?" Luna asked. "About 60, Jake replied, "and more keep coming. The Jenkins family just arrived with their newborn baby. Mrs. Patterson is running a fever and we don't have enough medicine. I don't know how much longer we can keep this up." Luna looked at Jake's tired face and made a decision that surprised her. "What if I told you I might know a way to solve the power problem?" Jake turned to look at her with hope in his eyes. "What do you mean?" Luna took a deep breath. "I have some equipment that might be able to help, but using it would mean telling you something about myself that might be hard to believe." "Amy," Jake said gently, "I don't care if you're from Mars. If you can help these people, I'll believe anything you tell me." Luna almost laughed at how close to the truth Jake's joke was. "Give me until tomorrow morning," she said. "I need to go get the equipment and figure out how to make it work." That night, Luna walked through the snow to where her spaceship was, hidden. She stood outside the ship for a long time, thinking about what she was about to do. If she used her technology to help the humans, she would lose her bet and have to marry a human. But if she did nothing, good people like Jake and Betty and little Megan might suffer or even die. Luna realized that somewhere during the past 2 weeks, these humans had stopped being research subjects and had become her friends. She cared about them more than she cared about winning a bet or proving a point. She opened her ship and began gathering the equipment she would need to save the town. Luna spent the entire night working in her spaceship, preparing the equipment she would need to save Riverside. She had a portable fusion generator that could provide clean energy for the entire town for months. She also had medical supplies that could cure Mrs. Patterson's fever and help anyone else who was sick. As the sun came up, Luna loaded everything into her ship's transportation device and flew it to a field behind the community center. She landed quietly so no one would see the ship, then used her technology to make the equipment look like it came from Earth. Luna carried the disguised fusion generator and medical supplies to the back door of the community center. She knocked, softly, and Jake answered. He looked like he had not slept all night. "Amy," Jake said with relief. "You're back. Did you find the equipment you were talking about?" "Yes," Luna said. "But before I show you, I need to tell you the truth about who I am. You might not believe me at first, but I promise everything I say is real." Jake looked at Luna's serious face and nodded. "Okay, I'm listening." Luna took a deep breath. "My real name is not Amy Johnson. It's Princess Luna. I am not from Earth. I come from a planet very far away, and my people are called elves." Jake stared at Luna for a moment, then said, "Are you feeling okay? You might be getting sick from all the stress." Luna had expected this reaction. She reached up and touched the device behind her ear that made her look human. Suddenly, her appearance changed back to her true form. Her ears became pointed, her eyes turned purple, and her skin began to glow softly in the dim morning light. Jake's eyes went wide, but he did not step back or look afraid. Instead, he said, "Well, that explains why you were so good with the computers." Luna was amazed by how calmly Jake accepted seeing her real appearance. "You are not scared?" she asked. "Should I be?" Jake replied. "You've been nothing but kind and helpful since you got here. I don't care what planet you're from or what you look like. You're still the same person who's been working beside me for 2 weeks. Luna felt tears forming in her eyes. She had never expected a human to accept her so easily. "I came to Earth to study humans and prove that you were not worth knowing," she admitted. "My brother made a bet with me. If I found even one good human, I would have to marry whichever human my people chose for making peace between our worlds. Jake listened quietly as Luna explained about the bet, her original prejudices, and how her opinion of humans had changed during her time in Riverside. She told him about her advanced technology and how she could solve the town's power problems. So, you're telling me that you could have fixed everything days ago, but you didn't because of some bet? Jake asked. I was afraid, Luna said honestly. If I used my technology, I would lose the bet. But watching everyone suffer made me realize that some things are more important than winning. Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Can your equipment really help the town? Yes, Luna said. I have a power generator that can give electricity to everyone. I also have medicine that can help Mrs. Patterson and anyone else who is sick. Then let's do it, Jake said simply. Luna was surprised. You're not angry that I waited so long to help? Jake shook his head. You're helping now, that's what matters. Besides, I understand being afraid. Fear makes people do things they're not proud of sometimes. Luna and Jake worked together to set up the fusion generator in the community center's basement. Luna explained how the device worked, making it sound like advanced human technology that she had learned about in school. Within an hour, the lights in the community center came back on. The people in the shelter cheered when they saw the lights. Children laughed and ran around the warm building. Adults hugged each other and cried with relief. Betty immediately started making hot coffee for everyone. Luna used her medical supplies to help Mrs. Patterson and several other people who had been getting sick from the cold. She told Jake that the medicine came from a special medical research company that wanted to help with the emergency. Over the next few days, Luna helped Jake connect the power from her generator to other buildings in town. Soon, everyone in Riverside had electricity again. The crisis was over, and life started returning to normal. One evening, Jake asked Luna to take a walk with him around the town. They stopped at the small park in the center of Riverside and sat on a bench under the streetlights. I need to ask you something, Jake said. This bet you made with your brother about marrying a human, what happens now? Luna looked down at her hands. I lost the bet. I found not just one good human, but an entire town full of good humans. According to our agreement, I have to marry whatever human the Galactic Council chooses. And what if the human they choose doesn't want to marry? You? Jake asked quietly. Luna looked up at him in surprise. Why would any human refuse to marry an elf princess? The marriage would bring great benefits to Earth. Your people would get access to our technology and knowledge. Jake smiled. Maybe because marriage should be about love, not politics or technology. Love? Luna asked. On her home planet, royal marriages were always arranged for political reasons. Love was not considered important. Yes, love, Jake said. Caring about someone so much that you want to spend your life making them happy, respecting them and trusting them and enjoying their company every day. Luna thought about this. During her time in Riverside, she had come to care deeply about Jake and the other humans. She enjoyed working with Jake and talking to him. She trusted him completely and she felt happy when she saw him smile. I think I might love you, Luna said quietly, surprising herself with the words. Jake reached over and took her hand. I think I might love you too, Amy. I mean Luna. I fell in love with the kind, smart, hard-working woman who's been helping our town. The fact that you're an elf princess from another planet doesn't change how I feel about you. But the marriage is supposed to be arranged by the council, Luna said. They will choose someone they think is best for making peace between our peoples. Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said, What if I asked them to choose me? Luna stared at him. You would want to marry me? Even though it would mean leaving Earth and coming to live on my planet? I would want to marry you if you wanted to marry me, Jake said, and I wouldn't necessarily have to leave Earth. Maybe we could live here part of the time and on your planet part of the time. Or maybe we could work together to help both our peoples understand each other better. Luna felt her heart beating faster. The idea of marrying Jake because they loved each other instead of just to fulfill a bet made her happier than she had ever been. There is one problem, Luna said. I have to contact my people and tell them about the bet. When they learn that I lost, they will send someone to arrange the marriage. I do not know if they will listen when I tell them I want to marry you specifically. Jake squeezed her hand. Then we'll just have to convince them together. That night, Luna sent a message to her home planet, explaining that she had lost the bet and requesting that Jake Morrison be chosen as her husband. She told the council about everything Jake had done to help his community and why she believed he would be a good choice for creating friendship between humans and elves. Now all they could do was wait for the council's response and hope that love would be stronger than politics. 3 days after Luna sent her message to the Galactic Council, she received their reply. The news was not good. The council had decided that Jake Morrison was not suitable for marriage to an elf princess. Instead, they were sending a delegation to Earth to choose a different human, someone with more political importance or scientific knowledge. Luna read the message to Jake while they sat in his office at the community center. Jake listened quietly, then said, I guess I'm not important enough for them. That is not true, Luna said angrily. You are the most important person I have ever met. You care more about helping others than about making yourself look good. You work harder than anyone I know. You are brave and kind and honest. The council is making a terrible mistake. Jake smiled sadly. Maybe they're right, though. I'm just a small town guy who runs a community center. I don't know anything about politics or space travel or making deals between planets. Maybe you should marry someone who could actually help your people. Luna stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the town Jake had worked so hard to protect. Children were playing in the park, their laughter carried on the warm spring air. Adults were walking to work, stopping to talk with neighbors along the way. Everyone looked happy and peaceful. Do you see what you have built here? Luna asked Jake. This town is full of people who trust each other and help each other. There is no crime, no violence, no hate. Everyone has enough food and a safe place to live. Children are learning and growing up without fear. This is better than anything we have on my home planet. Jake joined Luna at the window. We're not perfect, he said. We have problems just like everywhere else. But you solve your problems by working together, Luna replied. On my planet, the nobles live in beautiful palaces while common people struggle to survive. Here, you make sure everyone has what they need. That is true leadership. Before Jake could respond, Luna's communication device started beeping. She had received another message from her home planet. This time the message was from her father, King Marcus. Luna, the king's voice said through the device. The council has made their decision about your marriage. You will marry Dr. Richard Hayes, a human scientist who specializes in space technology. He has agreed to the arrangement in exchange for access to our scientific knowledge. The wedding will take place in 1 week. Luna felt her heart sink. Dr. Hayes was probably a good man, but she did not love him. The thought of marrying someone she did not care about made her feel sick. There is more. The king's message continued. Your brother Alex has told me about the real reason for your bet. He explained that he wanted to teach you not to judge others unfairly. I am proud that you learned this lesson, but I am disappointed that you let your emotions interfere with your duty. A princess must marry for the good of her people, not for personal feelings. The message ended, and Luna stared at the device in her hands. She felt angry and sad and trapped all at the same time. I have an idea, Jake said quietly. What if we got married before the council's delegation arrives? Luna looked at him in surprise. What do you mean? I mean, what if we had a wedding ceremony here in Riverside today? Jake explained. If we're already married when your people arrive, maybe they'll have to accept it. That would not work, Luna said. Elf marriages must follow certain traditions and laws. A human wedding ceremony would not be legal on my planet. Jake thought for a moment. Then let's have both kinds of wedding. We can get married the human way today, and then have an elf ceremony when your people get here. They can't very well force you to marry someone else if you're already married to me. Luna wanted to agree, but she was afraid. If I disobey the council, they might banish me from my home planet forever. I would never see my family again. Is that what you want? Jake asked gently. To go back to your old life and pretend that your time here never happened? Luna thought about returning to her father's palace, attending boring royal parties, and spending her days doing nothing useful. Then she thought about staying in Riverside, working at the community center, and building a life with Jake. The choice was easy. Let us get married, Luna said. That afternoon, the entire town of Riverside gathered in the park for Jake and Luna's wedding. Katie from the diner brought a beautiful cake. Betty decorated the gazebo with flowers. Carlos played guitar while little Megan scattered flower petals on the ground. The town's mayor, an elderly woman named Helen, performed the ceremony. She had known Jake since he was a child and was delighted to see him so happy. Do you, Jake Morrison, take Luna to be your wife to love and cherish for all the days of your life? Mayor Helen asked. I do, Jake said, looking into Luna's eyes. Do you, Luna, take Jake to be your husband, to love and cherish for all the days of your life? The mayor asked. I do, Luna said, meaning it with all her heart. When Jake and Luna kissed, everyone in the town cheered. Luna had never felt so happy in her entire life. 2 days later, a large spaceship appeared in the sky above Riverside. The ship landed in the same field where Luna had hidden her smaller vessel. Prince Alex, King Marcus, Queen Diana, and several council members came out of the ship. Along with Dr. Richard Hayes, Luna and Jake met them in the field holding hands. Luna had changed back to her true elf appearance for the meeting. Luna, King Marcus said sternly, you were supposed to wait for the council's chosen husband. Why did you marry this human without permission? Because I love him, Father, Luna replied. And because he is a better man than anyone the council could have chosen. Dr. Hayes stepped forward. He was a tall, thin man with gray hair and intelligent eyes. Your Majesty, he said to the king, I have been studying the reports about your daughter's time on Earth. If Princess Luna has found happiness with Mr. Morrison, I have no desire to interfere. I was only interested in the marriage for the scientific benefits anyway. Prince Alex smiled at his sister. I told you that bet would teach you something important, he said. Queen Diana looked at Jake carefully. So you are the human who captured my daughter's heart. What makes you worthy of marrying an elf princess? Jake straightened his shoulders and looked the queen in the eye. Your Majesty, I can't offer your daughter a palace or great wealth, but I can promise to love her, respect her, and work beside her to make life better for both our peoples. I believe that's worth more than any amount of money or power. The queen smiled. You may be right about that. King Marcus was quiet for a long time, studying Jake and Luna. Finally, he said, the marriage has already been completed according to human custom. If you wish, we can also perform an elf ceremony to make it official under our laws. Yes, Luna said quickly. I want both our peoples to recognize our marriage. The elf wedding ceremony took place that evening in the park, with the whole town watching. This time, King Marcus performed the ceremony himself, speaking ancient words in the elf language while Jake and Luna exchanged rings made from a special metal that would never tarnish. After the ceremony, the king announced that Jake and Luna would serve as the first human elf ambassadors, working to build friendship and understanding between Earth and the elf homeworld. They would spend part of each year on each planet, sharing knowledge and culture. Dr. Hayes was appointed as the chief scientific liaison, a position that made him much happier than marriage would have. Luna's parents stayed on Earth for a week, learning about human culture and meeting the people of Riverside. Queen Diana was especially impressed by the community center and the way everyone worked together to help their neighbors. Your humans have something we elves have forgotten, the queen told Luna on the last day of their visit. They remember that taking care of each other is more important than taking care of themselves. After Luna's family returned to their home planet, Jake and Luna settled into their new life together. They continued running the community center, but now they also had the exciting job of preparing for visits from other planets and teaching humans about the wider galaxy. Luna often thought about the bet that had brought her to Earth. She had lost the wager, But she had won something much more valuable. She had learned that love was stronger than prejudice, that kindness was more important than power, and that the best way to judge people was not by their appearance or their technology, but by how they treated each other. Sometimes, late at night, Jake would ask Luna if she ever regretted giving up her life as a princess to marry a simple human. Luna would always answer the same way. "I did not give up being a princess," she would tell him. "I just found a better kingdom to rule, and a better king to rule it with." And every morning when Luna woke up next to Jake in their little house in Riverside, surrounded by friends who had become family, she knew that losing that bet was the best thing that had ever happened to her.